Hello, I'm Dustin Abbott, and I'm here today to talk to you about the new Rokinon 50mm f1.4 lens that's just come out. Got a few other segments that we'll look at. We'll look at the build quality of it. We'll also look at the image quality, but here I just want to give you a few of my overall observations after having spent some time with it over the last several weeks. First of all, this is a nicely constructed lens at a moderate size. It's a little bit larger than Canon's 50mm f1.4. It's about the same size as the original Sigma 50mm 1.4, but not as large as the Art series lens. In this segment, we're going to take a look at the build quality of the new 50mm f1.4 lens from Samyang and Rokinon. You can see that this is it's about the size of Sigma's original 50mm f1.4 lens and kind of similar in its overall shape and build design. The overall lens build is quite nice here. It's engineered plastics, as are just about every lens these days outside of Zeiss lenses and some of the larger telephoto lenses. And it's built around a metal bayonet mount. As you take a look at that metal bayonet, you'll see that there is no electronics of any kind on it. And one of the downside of this lens, like other Rokinons, is that in Canon mounts at least, it does not transmit any kind of electronic information, no EXIF data, and so data like the actual lens focal length and any information about that or aperture value, none of that is transmitted to the camera. So it means you have to kind of guess at some of those things later when you're examining your lenses. And also, of course, there is no kind of focus confirm, and so focus is a bit of a challenge because of that. We'll get into that more in the actual review. On top of that, you have a manual aperture ring, and unlike many modern lenses where you never actually see the aperture blades, with this lens, as you stop it down manually, you can see the aperture blades. You can see that there are 8 blades in this, and it remains fairly circular. This is at f5.6, but you'll see that as you go on down, you begin to lose that circular shape, and it's best at f4 or larger apertures. And aperturing seems to work fine. There are half stops between f2 to f2.8 on through until you get to f16, and then there is no half stop in between f16 and f22. Beyond that is the actual focus ring. It does have a rubberized surface on kind of your grabbing area, and one thing to note about this is that it's damped very nicely. Nice definite feeling stops at minimum focus and infinity focus. And kind of the crucial thing, you'll see that overall here is our play from infinity to minimum focus. It strikes me as being somewhere, this is not scientific, but somewhere around probably 60, 65 degrees. But kind of one of the most important things here is in that critical zone from, say, about 5 feet or 1.5 meters to infinity. This is how far your play is from there. And so you don't have a lot to work with there. And so that is something to watch out for, in that you don't have quite as much focus throw as what you do with, for example, an equivalent Zeiss lens. There is a hyperfocal distance scale that I did use. I didn't find it always to be exactly precise. As we take a look at the front, we'll see it is a quite large 77mm front filter thread, and I would recommend adding a UV or protection filter because of one other aspect of the design, and that is that there is an inner housing here that has the front element, and as you begin to focus, you'll find that that front housing, as you get towards minimum focus, comes forward a fair bit, and so it moves in and out. At infinity focus, it's the most recessed and protrudes the most at minimum focus. Now, I want you to note that this is still kind of technically internally focusing in the sense that it never actually protrudes. The length of the lens never changes, but the fact that there is that movement in and out makes me think that there is the possibility of introducing dust into your lens. And so I would prefer, if I own this, to have a filter there, and that way you could eliminate that as a possibility and help to seal the lens off a little bit better. There is both a pouch that is included along with a petal-shaped lens hood that works effectively, clicks into place nice. And so obviously with that lens hood, which is fairly large, you end up with a fairly decent sized lens, still considerably smaller than Sigma's new Art series lens. Overall, a nicely constructed lens that mechanically works very well. This lens has been a bit of a conundrum for me because it comes in at a price point that's not typical for a Rokinon or Samyang product, in the sense that it comes in at about the same price, or really the exact same price as the counterparts from either Canon or Nikon or the original Sigma, that all have autofocus and a build quality that's not really any worse than this. And so this is a manual focus everything lens. Manual aperture ring, manual focus, no electronics of any kind in it. And so it's one of the first times that really this lens has to stand on the merit of its own image quality and the actual build, as opposed to just being a budget option to other lenses. And so as I detailed in my first introductory video, that to me has been the biggest challenge going into this. So thank you for watching today. If you haven't already, please subscribe. You'll find links to the full written review below, and an image gallery with a lot more pictures taken during this review period. Have a great day. Thank you. Bye-bye.